What if healing isn't about returning to who you used to be, but about discovering the person that loss has transformed you into? What if the scars you carry aren't signs of what broke you, but proof of what you survived, of the love that still lives within you? You've walked through fire, you've carried the unthinkable, but the fact that you're here right now, breathing, listening, hoping, means the story isn't over yet. Today, we're talking about what it means to rise from the ashes, to rediscover the strength you didn't know you had to live again, not instead of who you lost, but because of them. Welcome back to Logan's Voice, a podcast about truth, awareness, hope, and healing. I'm Doug Ballinger, Logan's dad. If you're new here, take a second to follow the show, subscribe on YouTube, and visit logansvoice.org for resources, stories, and ways to join our growing community of awareness and action. This episode is for anyone who's been through the fire and wonders if they'll ever feel whole again. You will, not because the pain disappears, but because love, real love, never does. So let's talk about what proof of life really means. When loss first hits, it's like your entire world has been burned down. Nothing looks the same. Nothing feels real. Every sound echoes too loudly. Every day feels too long. And you wonder how the rest of the world can just keep spinning while yours has stopped. But even in that smoke and silence, there's a flicker, the smallest spark, a reason, a whisper that says, "Not yet." That whisper might be a promise you made to your loved one. It might be a cause, a purpose, or a story that refuses to end with tragedy. For me, that spark came when I realized that Logan's story wasn't over just because his life was. He deserves to be remembered, and not just for how he died, but for how he lived. So I started speaking, writing, and building something that might save another life. That was my from ashes to action moment. Grief doesn't go away when you find purpose, but it starts to move. It changes shape. It becomes a companion on your journey instead of an anchor at your feet. If you've ever wondered whether it's possible to rebuild from nothing, trust me, it is. Because what's left in the ashes isn't just pain, it's the essence of everything real: love, memory, and the pieces of you that were strong enough to survive. We hear it all the time. "You're so strong." But what people don't see is how many nights you've cried in silence, how many mornings you've woken up wishing you hadn't, and how many days you've smiled just to keep from falling apart. Strength isn't about having it all together. It's about keeping your heart open even when it's been shattered. You find strength in the moments you don't quit. When you take one breath, one prayer, one small step, even when it hurts. When you pick up the phone to help another grieving parent, or when you finally allow yourself to rest without guilt. There's power in vulnerability, in admitting I'm not okay today, because healing doesn't happen in pretending. It happens in honesty. And every time you show up for yourself, you're proving that love didn't end with death. It's still alive right there inside you, quietly saying, "Keep going." So if you're tired, that's okay. If you feel broken, that's okay too. Just remember, broken crayons still color, and even cracked hearts still shine light through the spaces that once tried to hide. There's a moment in grief when you catch yourself laughing, and it almost feels wrong. You think, "How can I smile when they're gone?" But that laughter, that joy is sacred, because joy after loss is rebellion. It's saying, "You may have taken their presence, but you will never take the love that still connects us." Joy doesn't erase the grief, it coexists with it. You can miss your loved one and still find reasons to smile. You can carry sadness in one hand and gratitude in the other. The first time I felt joy again, it caught me off guard. A song, a sunset, a moment where I could feel Logan's energy all around me. And instead of crying, I smiled because I realized he'd want that. He'd want life to still be beautiful. When we allow ourselves to experience joy again, we're not betraying their memory, we're honoring it because love was never meant to die with them. It was meant to live through us. So laugh when it comes, smile when you feel it. That's what your heart and theirs have been waiting for. You may not see the impact you're having, but I promise it's there. Every time you share your story, every time you speak your loved one's name, every time you hold space for someone else who's grieving, you're creating ripples that move far beyond what you can see. You never know who's listening, who's watching, who's quietly thinking, if they can survive this, maybe I can too. Grief can isolate us, but purpose reconnects us. It's the difference between drowning in the pain and learning how to swim in it, how to use it as fuel for change. Maybe your ripple looks like volunteering. Maybe it's advocating for awareness. Maybe it's simply being kind to yourself on a day you used to hate. Whatever it is, it matters. And the truth is, your loved one's legacy isn't measured by how long they live. It's measured by how far their love reaches through you. In the beginning, all you can see is the wreckage, the empty chair, the unopened text messages, the life that used to be. But over time, something shifts. You start noticing small things again, the sound of rain, the color of the sky, the way the world keeps whispering, there's still beauty here. The horizon doesn't erase what you've lost. It simply reminds you that the story didn't end there. You are not the same person you were before, and that's not failure. That's just evolution. You've become someone who knows the cost of love and still chooses to love anyway. You've become someone who understands pain deeply, but also understands compassion on a level most never will. And that, my friend, is sacred. The horizon is still beautiful, not because it's perfect, but because you're still here to see it. When you've been through what we've been through, just getting out of bed is an act of courage. Every heartbeat, every breath, every word of hope is proof of life, proof that love doesn't die, proof that purpose can grow from pain, proof that your story still matters. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become afterward. So take a deep breath, feel your heartbeat. That rhythm, steady and strong, is your reminder you've made it through 100% of your hardest days. And that means you're living, loving, and rising, proof of life in motion. If this episode spoke to your heart, share it with someone who's still finding their way. Follow Logan's Voice on YouTube and visit logansvoice.org for resources, stories, and ways to get involved. And remember, grief doesn't end love, it just changes the conversation. I'm Doug. I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent.